Good afternoon, folks. We are live once again. Let me get everything switched over and we will jump back into what I'm sure is going to be a very productive session of Factorio. Alright, we will leave the BGM there for now. How's everybody doing today? I see red dragons here. It's a lot of dancing dinosaur emotes. Starting off with 5 hydrates as usual, and a drop of beat and a small Raku and a Raku Factor. You going bankrupt with your points, Red Dragon? Jeez. Alright, let me do the... let's do it in reverse. First I'll turn on small mode, since that one has a timer, and then I'll do the fact. And then we'll do the beat. We'll put that there. Put the timer on. Our dragon says, still got lots, and I want a dancing dragon like the dancing dino. That'd be a good emote. You could probably do it in like 4 frames. You just need to get images and then flip them. Alright. Fact redeem. How about a Garden Watch update? I had the fact redeem turned off for a while. I decided to put it back on, force myself to think up some more interesting facts to tell all you lovely folks. But first Garden Watch update of 2025, and we are right in the middle of winter, and it is cold as balls where I live. But the garden is still alive somehow. So the update is, I think I mentioned before last time someone had me talking about it, that I was going to move all the sensitive plants indoors. So I did that, and everything except my rosemary and green onion plants are inside right now. So I'll run down kind of an update of everything. Dragon says balls are cold. They can be cold. They can be hot. They can really be anything as a measure of intensity. So, of the plants that are indoors, the habanero plant is doing decently well. I moved into a larger pot, and it's continuing to grow leaves, but the fruit on it has a couple tiny peppers, have not really grown, so I think they might just stay that way. But the plant itself is doing fine, so the goal is to keep it alive until we get to the warm weather, and then I'm going to put it back outside and hopefully get a bunch of habanero peppers to potentially eat and make hot sauce out of in the warm season here. Basil plant is still alive, but not doing super great. I have the indoor plants under a really strong grow light, but for some reason the basil plant's not happy. It's very kind of scraggly. I might try and move it towards the window and see if natural light works better, since I've got 2 other basil plants that are in smaller pots near the windows, and those are doing okay. Let's see, oregano is still alive. Also, started off alright when I put it inside by the light, but it seems to not be happy now, so I gotta figure that out. And the only other thing of note is I started growing some new habanero sprouts, and I killed the first set earlier on in the cold season, and the second batch are sprouted. I'm trying to not kill them. The idea being, if I can keep them alive and get them to grow decently large by the time it gets hot, I can put them outside and then end up with more plants, which means more peppers. Overall, garden is doing alright. I can't expect a ton while the weather's cold, but we'll see. This will be the first year I've had plants indoors during the off season, and hopefully that means I'll be able to get a better start once spring rolls around in like 4 months. think about when it's actually warm here. Realistically, probably not till like maybe May. We won't get summer weather where I live until June, July. So I think the pepper's got to stay alive till then. All right, let me pause the BGM. And we're going to run through a beat real quick. I'll turn off the small mode after I finish the beat. It should sync up relatively closely. But let me put on my headphones, not like you can tell. Her Dragon says, I wasn't here when you started this game. Oh, that's right. That's right. I think you went to sleep early or something last week when I did this. This was the only stream I think I did last week because of all my schedule shenanigans. That's okay. I'll walk through kind of where we started, and a lot's changed since last week, so it really doesn't matter. We got established in Factorio, so I'll go through everything and explain what we did, because we did something similar to when I did Satisfactory here, so I'll explain everything and where we're going today, since I have some specific objectives I'd like to get done. And we'll just take it from there. Okay, well, timer's done. Let's turn it off so it's off the screen. Okay, so for the beat, I want to do something that I've been experimenting with that's going to be part of the next lesson whenever I do a jam stream, most likely next week. And it has to do with unusual time signatures in music, which is something I'm trying to learn a bit more about. And so, again, I'm not a music theory person. I don't have a strong background in formal music training. But for any song, you have a time signature which dictates the beats, essentially, of the song. You have like a 4/4, you have 2/4, 3/4, 6/8. And without getting into any explanation of that, since it's not part of the whole beat thing, real common one is 4/4, like a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 beat. I know we've talked a little bit about that when I was going through kind of metronome training techniques. I have been tinkering around with learning and kind of memorizing the patterns for non-standard time signatures. So this beat I'm going to do just for the redeem is going to be a little bit different from the ones I've done before, but I'm trying to get better. So this is going to force my brain to get better at doing this on demand. This one is, I believe, a 3/4 or 6/8. I need to look this up, but it's not a 4/4. So unlike some of the other ones, which are going to be a little more routine-ish, this one's going to be a bit more pattern practice, but it's going to sound different from some of the other ones I've done. So let's give it a try. All right, let me turn off my headphones and fix my model. Just, again, as kind of a precursor to the next time we talk about actual beatbox stuff, that beat I didn't have any bass or really anything else aside from the percussion, because I'm still learning how to structure all of the percussion instruments in like the quote-unquote drum kit. And by the next time we do a jam stream, I'll hopefully have enough knowledge to be able to speak on it a little bit more. But that's going to be something we'll discuss in the near future, talking about weird time signatures and meat boxing. All right, let me turn on the BGM. We're using a royalty-free BGM playlist today. So we can listen to some different from just my stuff all the time. I find that show music pairs well with factory auto sim games. Some low key and show in the background, but we'll probably switch it up every once in a while. All right. So Factorio, largely considered the grandpappy of factory auto sim genre, not necessarily the one that invented it, since the whole idea of factory auto sim games has been around for a bit, but this is the one that really kind of propelled the genre into the spotlight several years ago. This game has been around a bit, and I've talked about it off and on, but we've never played it on stream. In fact, this was on my list to play for a while, but the main reason why I wanted to go through it now is because this game got a pretty sizable update in November? Fairly recently. And it was an expansion, like a DLC expansion that added a whole bunch to the game. And I wanted to start up a brand new save and kind of play through the game normally with the intention of getting to the new content, which I've never seen before. And for context, similar to how we opened up with DSP, I have played a couple hundred-ish hours. What's my Steam count on this one? Let me pull it up. I forget exactly how long I've been playing this one. It was originally got introduced to me by one of my really good friends who's got like around 5,000 hours in the game. Okay, 124 on this one. I don't know if that's entirely accurate because I think I played this on a different account for a bit, but either way, I've played through this game before and gotten to the end state, kind of like we did in DSP, where you get to the final tech tier and unlock the last research type. I have done that in base Factorio, but the new content greatly expands not only what you do and unlock, but how the game plays. They added other planets. Kind of like DSP, we're going to be going to multiple planets, but it's a bit larger in scale per planet compared to DSP. So we play as the engineer, this little dude running around. And when we first land on a planet, we crash land, kind of similar to the way we start Satisfactory. And the whole point is to establish initial tech, automation, and then work your way up the progression in order to unlock more advanced technology and proceed till eventually we go off world. And that's kind of where we're trying to get to right now, but we still have to expand a lot of production and whatnot before we even get there. And if we take a look at the map, you can see how big our main base is. Kind of similar. I can't remember how much of DSP is procedural since it's been a while since we played that. But in Factorio, we're dropped into a world. There's a seed gen that we can manipulate. I just did the default settings for everything. But the terrain is obscured by fog of war. And as we uncover more through satellite scans or just by wandering around, we explore more, and it's procedurally generated. So every map is going to be different unless you're using a set seed. And that means each map with its allocation of resources, layouts, and enemy spawns, which we'll get to in a sec, are going to vary, again, unless you're standardizing things with certain seeds. And so looking at the map here, we have our core base. Everything is laid out really simply here. And this red sort of aura that's around all of our main facilities is pollution. And the way pollution works is as your factory and its satellite sources grow and produce things, they will add to the overall pollution cloud, which will slowly expand outwards, covering more and more of the terrain. And that means each map is going to be different unless you're standardizing things with certain seeds. And if we take a look in the corners of the map at the kind of periphery of where I've explored, we see these red clusters of squares, these pixels. These are enemies. The main hostile life form on this planet are called biters and a bunch of cousins of biters, little insectoid creatures. They normally just spawn and populate around the map, and as things go, they kind of evolve and become stronger. Where it comes into play is when your pollution cloud and its overall sphere of influence gets to the point where it reaches the nests of the biters. They don't like pollution, so once you have enough influence to effectively get into their territory, then they will start attacking your installations. I believe they'll gun towards whatever's closest that's contributing to the pollution. And so what we did a bit on stream last time and a bit offline since last time, I went around the map and I took out a bunch of the nests that were close. And I've given a pretty good buffer, but I'm going to need to go over here since there was some kind of hugging the corner of my visible map. And I need to make sure there's none right here because this is a pretty important spot that I do not want to get attacked. And so maybe we'll do that first, and I'll show off kind of how the combat works. There's a couple main goals I want to accomplish today with the session. First off, I want to secure a good border around, which means we might have to open up a little bit more of the map, make sure our pollution cloud's not going to get us attacked. Next, I want to upgrade and expand production of basic resources, because a lot of what I started with here in my main base, we've got coal, copper, and little tiny sprinklings of iron. This is where we start. I want to get more production from the immediate sites, and I'll have to look and see what's the most concentrated. And we're going to do that by setting up trains. Everything right now is kind of stopped because I'm not actively producing a whole lot, but there's one train line here, another train line up here. This one's bringing oil. This one is moving coal. I want to get a copper and at least one dedicated iron train bringing everything in. We're going to sort of create a hub, like a transit hub here, and I'll have to learn how to do overlapping tracks possibly. But that's going to be the first major goal, because here's an iron patch down here, but it's not a super dense one. We've got some here that are using belts. These yellow lines on the simplified map are belts, trucking the stuff from the different destinations to a smelting zone south of the base. If we take a look at the way it's laid out, this might look familiar for folks who were there for DSP almost a year ago. We're running a main bus setup where we have centralized lines for the different resources, and then we split them off to the different production facilities, assemblers that are creating whatever it is we need to create. Up here we have our research science that we use to research tech. We've got all the components down here, basic logistics components over here, and all that stuff is currently running off of what we're supplying now. I learned doing some research that that's all right in the beginning, but our raw commodity demands are going to vastly exceed having a single line for things like iron plates, copper plates. And so what I'd like to do is set up 2 dedicated additional lines for each, for iron and copper. And so I started with a ghost template for a balancing setup here, and then here are the belts. We're doing rows of 4 with gaps of 2 in between in order to make it easy for us to split things off to where they need to go. So hopefully by the end of the stream we'll have at least the iron ready, and I'm realizing now that I might have to port the copper further down because of all this stuff that's in the way, or I can move it, since I don't think I can run lines underground. Unlike DSP, where we kind of go over and go vertical, or even Satisfactory, where we go vertical, in order to get belts across one another in Factorio, we go underground. So these curved things are underground belts. They will go under the ground or any obstacle for a certain amount of time, then they'll pop up on the other side. So looking at this, no. Red ones will only go this far. Which means we're most likely going to either need to move. Actually, we could start it here. Maybe put the balancer here and have the copper go, because we got tons of room before we hit any cliff sides. We can have the other lines start further down. It's either that or maybe take out the top layer of the engines here. Give myself enough room to run parallel, but we'll worry about that once we actually have the stuff coming in. Okay, we can see what we are able to research. This is the tech tree, and this tells us where we're headed as far as research and what's required. Little flasks are the different colored research types. We've researched up through military science, these kind of dark gray or black flasks, and they have green and red. Our next target is ultimately going to be blue. Once we get through blue, we'll be able to get bots, which are super important for improving efficiency. And also, this is the start of getting off-world. It goes up to purple, gold? Purple, yellow, white, and green. Red Dragon says it does look like an old PS1 game. Yeah, the graphic style for this game, it's hard to see because I'm usually zoomed out. It's 3D models rendered in kind of an old style. It reminds me of like StarCraft a bit. And it's pretty detailed. It's just we're always zoomed out looking at everything, so it looks very simple. But we can go all the way up close to actually see the models themselves. I think these are 3D models. I don't think they're sprites. But we can actually see how everything is moving if we get close. And so, kind of as the establishing game in the genre, it does have sort of a retro feel to it. But when you look at it from a coding perspective, it is incredibly complex. And what this game's got to keep track of when you start dealing with mega bases, and like we've seen with some of the streamers I've rated, like Blue, he's been playing a lot of Factorio, and he's shown off how when you're on multiple planets, you're essentially jumping between bases on different planets, and there's a lot to keep track of, so that'll be interesting to get to. But what we can do, I'm just adding some supplies to my manual production for ammunition. I'll grab some of this. We've got rockets. I'll explain how combat works. Then we can go secure the perimeter. Our Dragon says, sounds like it can get messy. Oh yeah, you remember what DSP looked like initially. The idea of being able to centralize production and have everything running efficiently and cleanly is kind of the end goal. This is a spaghetti base, called spaghetti because of all the belts. Once we get bots and logistic drones, we'll be able to move things around, having the robots flying stuff back and forth and not just belts. But initially, a lot of the setup kind of looks like this. Since I've played through the game several times, I kind of know how to orient things when using a main bus setup like this. But that's part of the fun of games like this, is figuring out how to get things to work effectively in a way that you like. Some people don't care about aesthetics, they'll build stuff wherever, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm far too anal for that. The artist in me wants things to look nice in addition to just running. And so optimization, reoptimization, and all that fun stuff is part of the progression as you deal with hostile enemy aliens and managing things like power. This area out here is the start of a solar panel field. One thing I worked on, which maybe I should queue since I'm going to be running around. I should go make some more batteries. Our power situation is going to need to be addressed at some point. We're currently using a mix of steam power and all these solar panels. But if we go up to one of the power poles, kind of like we could see in other games like DSP, Satisfactory, this very complicated looking grid, which looks like the stock market, is our energy production. Energy use and production. Currently we have a max of 44.1 megawatts and we're using about 8. This is with the overflow from the solar. So once the sun goes down, it'll start slowly consuming what's been stored in the accumulators. But we're going to need to get this up higher as we eventually start adding more facilities and things that are going to draw power. And because I'm not actively researching anything, power consumption is down. So let's see. We'll grab this. Some personal upgrades for our gear. And when it turns everything on, it'll be a better example of our power draw when most of the base is running. And it's going to primarily be assembly, inserters are the things that move commodities from A to B. So just a little bit under double so far. My guess is it's probably going to top out somewhere around 15 at the most, which isn't bad. But as we add more, our power consumption is going to go up, especially if we add weaponry and defenses. But before we go head south east on the map, I'm going to go grab materials to make some more accumulators. We just have that crafting in the background. Up here is the fluid production field. We've got crude oil being piped from the north and northwest. These are two different oil fields that are pumping crude oil down here and being dumped into the different facilities that are refining it into different parts of materials we need. This one is a pipeline. They changed some of the fluid dynamics, and so I didn't realize that. And this one is a train. And there's a train line that goes from here to here that I pointed out. That's grabbing tankers of oil and moving it all the way down here. And it's nighttime, so it'll be a little bit tough to see. But the train, everything's full, so it's currently stopped. The train is pulling everything down here so that the storage tanks can fill up with crude oil and pipe it down to the refineries to get petroleum. Here's some water being brought in from a nearby lake that's being used to take the petroleum and break it down into sulfur and sulfuric acid, which we need for a bunch of things. And the sulfuric acid is being stored here. Some's being used in this little cluster here for batteries, which we can grab a bunch. These need iron plates. Just like the other automation games we have a way to craft items using just our character, kind of like the bench in Satisfactory or the personal crafter in DSP. Or we can automate things for a more efficient production. So just because I'm going to be running around getting into fights for a bit, we'll just craft, well, it's a lot, 320 accumulators. And we'll be able to use those in the solar field. Where did I leave my car? Okay. Well, ideally, we're going to need to clear all this space. The trees can be knocked down with grenades, but we're going to need to expand production. In fact, I might just move all these further south to give myself room for the main bus up here, but we'll deal with that once the trains are running. Okay. So let's head to the east and see if we're in immediate danger of making the biters angry. In fact, I think we follow the train tracks. It's going to lead us, yeah, it's just to the right, further east of coal source A. Vehicle driving is a little bit finicky in this game. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of it, so you'll see me running into stuff a lot. But we just need to be careful not to run into too many obstacles, since our vehicle does have a life bar and it'll blow up if we're not careful. Or if we can knock down our own structures. Okay. On the basic starter planet, which is called Novice, the biomes can range from forested areas to some drier desert plains and arid areas, but for the most part, it's pretty tame climate. That will definitely change when we get to the other planets. They're all very different in kind of biome and overall environment, as well as the hostile life forms that are there too. All right. So we have a small biter nest. And what I've been doing in order to clear these out, I did this on the last stream, but I've been using a mix of turrets to cover me, since as soon as you get close, the biters will swarm you. But fortunately, since the last time I streamed this, I was using a submachine gun before. Now I have a rocket launcher, which has a much longer range. I can actually pick at them from far away to aggro. These things, the big worms, are turrets, essentially. They're like sunken or spore colonies in StarCraft. You get close and they'll start spitting an acid that will do damage and slow you down. So I don't want to get close to those. But we can draw off the little minions, get them in range of the turrets, and then pick apart the rest of the defenses from a long ways away with rockets. Oh, that can actually hit me. I believe the bigger the worm, the longer its attack range too. Just need to be careful not to step in those acid puddles. And our targets are the spawners. These are spitters. Biters are the kind of melee ones that'll run up on you, and there's spitters that will attack from range, kind of like the turrets. Alright. Okay, those can actually compete with my range, my rocket launcher. So that cluster's done. Further out, I believe the way the generation works is the further away you get, kind of larger the hives can be, and then as they get exposed to pollution and you start wiping them off the map, their overall stat parameters go up and they essentially evolve and become more dangerous. But we'll get this little bar here cleared out, and then maybe further down, just make sure there aren't any more nests that are going to be close to coal source A. And as long as nothing is in the immediate vicinity, we should be safe for a bit. Okay, we're fine up there. What's that? That might be a lone worm, yeah. I believe any enemy presence can eventually expand into a full-blown hive. So we might as well take that out while it's there. It's a big one. Let's see if there's any more further south. Oh, make sure we don't get too close. There's another one. Slightly bigger hive. So kind of similar, again, going back to like the days of StarCraft and all that. Setting up a turret line basically gives us cover, and then we just get close enough to lay everything out with rockets. I need more ammo. Eventually we'll get upgrades like a multi-fire, faster, like cluster rocket launcher, which will work even better. But for now, just being able to hit stuff at range is nice. These bigger ones are second tier biters, I believe. They can soak more damage, and they're generally meant to tank through and get to defensive emplacements and things like your turrets. If we weren't being proactive and trying to wipe these bugs off the map, they would be running up and attacking our factory itself, so we'd have to have defenses there. I'm trying to be a little proactive, so I don't have to worry about it for a while. But we will have to keep making progress with our tech, because as the enemies level up and get stronger, they'll be able to eat more damage, so our weapons will need to be upgraded in order to maintain effectiveness. And we won't be able to get any more weaponry upgrades until we get blue science. I believe explosives, that includes rocketry. But for now, rocket launcher is doing fine. What we'll do is we'll push a little bit further south just to make sure there's no more nests hiding out. And then we'll be able to start getting set up for the train lines. It'd also be nice if we come across any oil, iron, or copper deposits. Oh, there's a copper deposit. One video I was watching talking about World Gen was explaining how the further from your initial base spawn you go, the higher density of the resources actually spawn. Which I have noticed. This big copper field here, 7.9 million in total resources to be mined, versus the ones initially were maybe a million, maybe a little less than a million. Ooh, there's another nest. So it does encourage exploration and getting further out on the map to get it more resources as the needs of the factory grow. And that's what we're going to use trains for, to get some of these resources back to base so we can actually use them. Okay, so the medium worms I can outrange. The big ones, I think, have the same range and can shoot me from really far away. Alright, there's a little hive. Guess we'll cut around maybe more towards the left. I could see there's another hive further south, but that's definitely way outside my range. I don't have to worry about that at the moment. Okay. I think we're clear. Now the question is, which iron spot should I target? Tempted to look here. I think this is a really large body of water. But there might be iron over here we can use. If we have to create train tracks across a lake or something, that's not terribly hard to do. Because closer to the base proximity, we've got some stone. There's this one, which I don't think is really worth my time at the moment. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try and unlock more of the area over here and see. There might be a big iron patch somewhere in this big unexplored space right here, and I'd like to confirm that before we start building train lines, something that's going to be less efficient. So we'll go to the other side of the map since we're already out. Whoa. I wonder if that spawned right now. Yeah, that wasn't on the map before. Okay, we'll deal with another hive over here. Just like before, we'll pick away at the defenses, lure out all the waves so they can get shredded by the turrets. And just tear the base down from there. Doing this with the SMG in the last session was considerably more difficult because I couldn't get range to take them out. I have to go way up close and still use my turrets to cover myself. But it looks like the spitters are getting a slightly higher range too. Have to be careful. They use the same acid as the worms, which will do damage if I'm standing on it, and it'll slow me down if enough makes contact. Okay, that's a big worm. Eventually we'll get the next tier of armor, which will help damage mitigation, but for now, it's a ways off. I think we need to be on blue. Yeah, down here, power armor. We need red, green, and blue. Worm. Now we just need to take out the spawners. I'll leave this hive that's right to the side, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. in addition to being a potential threat, I believe the proximity of the hives is what causes other ones to spawn throughout the map. So if we do nothing and just leave it, eventually it'll, kind of like we saw in real time, this one just popping up as I got here. They'll spread across the map. Oh boy, yeah, that's a lot of damage. Okay. So from here, we're going to cut up the map. I could see, I could see if this path goes all the way around the lake. It should, but we're gonna go very close to another hive down here. I'll see if I can avoid getting into a direct fight if I have enough clearance to get around it. I just want to go up the map. Okay, there's another coal deposit down here. Okay, a lot of forest. Let's see if we can skirt around it. Oh, another big coal deposit. No, I'm gonna have to cut through. Oh. Okay, I was wrong. It is a really big lake. Okay, we can't go really around without going further down, so I guess we need to go up towards our base and hook around that way in order to get over here. Alright. Well, biters can't spawn on water. I guess that means it's more or less safe for now. I wonder how close I am to getting my next vehicle. After the car, there's a tank, which is exactly what it sounds like. Where are you? Can't be all the way down here. Green, all this green section is stuff I've researched already. Where is it? It's a rail guns. Spidertron's a really fun vehicle. We'll get that later. Advanced materials. Where's the tank? I don't think I unlocked it already. It'd be here. Okay, so I'll have to see as we progress further up. Basically a slightly slower but heavier vehicle. You can use it to mow down trees and can actually withstand a pretty decent amount of punishment too. But for now the car worked just fine. Okay, we're going to continue to push west. And hopefully we'll get lucky and there'll be a decent sized ore node for iron. This green material is uranium. Eventually we'll get to nuclear power. We'll get to nuclear power faster than we did in Satisfactory. The progression is a bit earlier for nuclear power in this game. What I could see, we're up against more angry bugs. A fairly small hive. Only 2 spawners. Medium worms. Okay. Safe range. You have enough power. Yep. Alright. That one's done. Didn't really need the turrets, but better to be safe than dead. Okay, we're up against another fairly large body of water directly above. The question is, how far to the west does it go? Ooh. Okay, that's a pretty big iron node. 8.4. Okay, that's the biggest one so far. And it's a little further than that one, but way more dense in concentration for ore. Okay, this is going to be our spot. But we're going to need to clear out stuff around it. And there's a big mess of bugs right above us. Ah, that's a big one. Okay. So we'll take that out, and then we're going to start setting up tracks. And this is going to be another station to grab some ore and truck it over to our base with rails. Okay, lay down cover fire. Oh, running low on rockets too. Okay. This will be the last major skirmish till we can get some more ammo. One other tactic that I've used, which I think I showed off last time, when it comes to trying to fight biters, is I'll establish a defensive line, and then I'll move the turrets in rows closer so that I can get closer and have them backing me up. Six at a time seems to be doing all right. Because unless you're super close to their aggro range, the bugs will sort of mill around and accumulate numbers and just keep spawning. But as soon as you attack, they're going to rush you. So we need to make sure our defensive line is there while we pick away at the defenses with rockets. Oh boy. That is still decent damage if I run into the acid. The way life works is you can get health recovery items, but if you avoid taking damage for a while, your life will auto regen, albeit slowly. All right, a couple more. Oh, there's another cluster down there, smaller one. Okay, just gotta clear all this out. We don't want these interfering with our production once we start setting up our trains. Okay, this one down. This one, whoa, that's a weird pattern. 3 spawners, but kind of in a column. Okay. Normally I'd just try and do it by myself, but I'm running low on rockets. So we'll go in with our cover. And make sure and queue up more of the rocket production when I go back. I forgot to do that before we left. I'll make sure we have more ammunition being crafted. It's a little hard to see because it's dark. There we go. That one's done. And there's another one. There's another cluster directly above. They're just parked out here. Let's see how big that cluster is. I'm running out of... Well, that's not too bad. I think I can take this one out if I'm careful. Or I can draw aggro. That works too. Waste my ammo. Oh, that was a big one. Okay, we might be seeing like the 3rd tier. Hey, stop shooting my turrets. Okay, so this area is clear now. But my hunch is that there's more. Maybe not immediately nearby. That's good. Okay, well, we're sort of in the clear for now. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how we're going to orient everything and set up a source spot for the iron, and then we're gonna have to run tracks, which is one of the more tedious things that we have to do on foot. I think I can technically do it in the car, but let's do it on foot so I don't make any mistakes. We're going to run tracks up to our main base. Okay, so this is a pretty big mineral field for iron. This will definitely help for a while. Oh, we need to get rid of all these big rocks that are sitting here. And when I get back to base, I need to craft more drills. My thought for at least an efficient way to lay out the drills would be to do columns back or facing each other and do columns, and then have all of the mining stuff being balanced over to one spot. Actually, I can see. And then have that feeding over to a spot to actually load into cars for the train. Well, I guess we can... We're also going to need to run power all the way out here, which is going to be fun. Since I don't think... Where's the nearest coal deposit? I wonder... One thing I haven't really messed around with is a satellite solar base. But there's mining site here. We can run power. It goes from here all the way out here. Just a bunch of the long-range poles. I might have enough. But first, we need to figure out how we're going to get the tracks to go. I'm thinking we go... like this for the actual stop. We have everything go vertically, and this will kind of make more sense once I actually get it set up. But we have the train pulling vertically, and then all these belts that are mining are going to be feeding some things that are loading into the cars on the train. I think we'll do 3 cars. And so we want them to all be kind of in a row so they can just get lined up. They get stocked with all their material, and then once they're full, then the train will go. And I guarantee it's going to take me more than one shot to get the programming right, as I've only done it a couple times. That might be a little too long. And we're going to wrap around to the right. Problem is there's all this terrain in the way and cliff sides. Later on we'll get an explosive that can level the cliff sides and make it flat, but we don't have that quite yet. So the blue dynamite, I believe. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to run the tracks all the way across the map, dipping between the cliff sides. Ooh. There's a hive down there, but we should be okay for a little bit. But we'll continue up this way. target is going to be, I want to say, right around here for the drop-off point. Maybe a little closer, right about there. I should have more than enough tracks. That's good. While I'm doing this, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. Have you folks been paying attention to the recent gaming announcements that have been coming out? I don't know if there was an event or what. I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. But there's a whole bunch of announcements of upcoming games that I've been seeing. A lot of it's IGN coverage, which, you know, I'm not a huge fan of IGN, but I'll take their news announcements of stuff that's coming out soon, and it's a lot of really interesting titles. Okay, our drop-off's going to be... I'll do that right about there. The big one that I heard about today was Ninja Gaiden 4 got announced, coming out later this year. And the Ninja Gaiden series is one I played a lot in the original NES days, but I didn't play on the Xbox initially because I didn't have original Xbox. But Ninja Gaiden 2 and all of its iterations is one of the most well-known kind of like character action type games. And so they're finally doing another one. And today, in fact, they announced that a remastered version of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is the last one I tried playing, I think on PSP. It's out now on everything, so I might look at that at some point. Those games are known for being very challenging and difficult, but it was very unexpected. And the fourth one, which is coming out, I would assume late this year, is being worked on with Team Ninja and Platinum Games. I did not know they were involved, but that's really cool. So hopefully that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. I'm very curious to see what kind of stuff Platinum works on now that Kamiya left and is technically working for Capcom again, Clovers. So that was very unexpected news. My gaming bingo card did not have a new Ninja Gaiden game. There was also a pretty decent bit of early information coming out from, again, IGN. I haven't watched the videos, just seen people talking about it as it relates to Wilds, because we are almost a month, maybe a month and change out from the release of Wilds, which is very exciting. And so a lot of the discussion, there's some devs talk stuff which I need to watch, the Wilds team talking about stuff they're actively looking to do with the new game. But very soon we will have new Monster Hunter, which will be a fixture on the channel, as it always is. I think next week, depending on the schedule, will probably be another Rise stream to continue to work through the end game. I'm thinking maybe we swap in SMT5 if I can do some grinding before then, and Monster Hunter, maybe do like a jam stream. Our Dragon says, yep, can't wait to play it. Everything's looking really good. Oh yeah, there's the second beta too, which is the beginning of next month. I don't know if I'm going to stream that. I probably will be doing it. I might be jumping on some of my peers' streams if they're doing it. But it's the same build as before, so I'll be tinkering around with it, but I don't think I'm going to stream it. We'll see. But yeah, very soon. I'm big excited for Wilds. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a good point, Red Dragon. The big thing is performance. I've heard the PC benchmarks. There's going to be a benchmarking tool from what Capcom was saying too, which is also interesting. But I'm curious to see how it runs. At the very least, I'll be able to report back to everyone on how the initial build was running. Same one we did before, because my hardware is different now. So it shouldn't run worse than it did when I showed it off on stream several months ago. But that's also the build that doesn't have all the improvements and stuff. So if that one runs decently well, then that should bode well for the final product. Might be rough initially, but I'm confident that it'll eventually be fine. Capcom has always been pretty careful when it comes to the performance of their products. So even if it's jank at the beginning, I'm confident it'll be fixed at some point, and then it'll be good. Alright, so we're back at base. We're going to need drills, so I think I'll axe the production of all these accumulators for now. I didn't mean to do that, but we want a whole bunch of electric drills so we can throw them down in the new mining spot. So we need plates, gears, circuits. Eventually, when I have kind of a better amount of production of the base commodities, I'm going to set up a crafting spot off of the main bus, and it'll be doing things like drills, assemblers, and all that, so I don't have to keep doing it by hand. But for now, we'll do it by hand. They craft decently fast. Our end goal is to not have to craft anything by hand. While I'm here, I can dump off all these accumulators that we're crafting as we were running around the map, killing enemy bugs. Let me throw that down here in the solar field to make some room. I'm going to need to also craft more power poles. Power poles, bulk inserters, a bunch of stuff that we need to set up the train depot to just start trucking the iron ore from that new spot over here. So we'll make sure we do all that before we drive back across the map. Likewise, I'm going to eventually move all the ammo production to its own spot, so I'm not having to manually go in here and dump things into storage chests so that it can be crafted. That's a temporary solution. Okay, we can craft more of those. We need iron, which is kind of strapped at the moment. Because we're going to need to make some more of these. All the stuff needs to be centralized so that it's all being produced in its own spot. The reason why I don't have it set up that way is because we're kind of running low on the copper and iron. Copper looks okay now because all the stuff here, but that's not going to meet the needs. That's why I want to do 4 and 4 4 iron, 4 copper, and then I won't have to worry about it for a bit. Okay. We have enough cargo wagons. That's fine. We need to grab... Oh, we need red circuits. That's the next big thing I'm going to need to craft. Okay. Which means I'm going to just have to do it by hand. In fluid production, once we started bringing oil, petroleum down here, one of the things that I put on the bus way down here is plastic, these white bars. And we need that in order to craft red circuits. I need wire. Down here we have some chemical plants that are using coal, the petroleum, just those two. Yeah, coal and petroleum to create the plastic bars. I think I've mentioned this before when we were doing Satisfactory and even back to DSP. Fluid production is my least favorite part of these games. Every time I play one of these auto sim games, I figure it out, but I never feel like I do it efficiently, 100% efficiently when it comes to fluid production. Big difference here in this particular playthrough is because they changed the way pipe limits work. I went trains more early on in the playthrough to get crude oil down here. It's not being used because I'm not burning through a lot of it. But before I did that, I was basically running out. Once the plants here making sulfur and sulfuric acid are running full steam, I was not getting enough crude oil from the refineries here. Okay, we're gonna need more of the green for these. I could set up, I'm gonna have to do a whole dedicated site for the red circuits. I was thinking maybe I just set up a temporary one so I can do that separately, but I'll do it later. We'll craft as many as we can do for now, since these pop out fairly quick. Because I also need to make some of the medium poles and then the big ones, which allow us to stretch power across a longer distance. These take 15 a pop. Okay. That's fine. Now we need to craft up poles. I think we have enough of the mining devices for now. We need to do power poles to run the power lines where they need to go, and then that should be good. Probably by the next time we stream this, I'll have a lot of this stuff all set up so I don't have to be doing it manually. That'll be my goal. grab some of the big ones, and then we'll just dump the rest into the mediums, since we'll use more of the mediums. The big ones are basically used to get power across a long distance, and then to actually power your facilities. I'm using the medium ones since their affected area is larger. Just kind of, illustrate. We have a big grid like that for the mediums. The large ones has a smaller grid, but they can go a further distance away. Let's illustrate. Here's how far apart the medium ones go. Here's how far apart the big ones go. What we want to do is use the big ones to cover a long distance, and then power all of our facilities with the medium ones because they have a bigger radius. Yeah, that should be good enough. Let's see. We've got power. We have logistics. We have the train bits. I think that's everything we need. Oh, I'll need to run a split line to get coal. We need fuel for the trains too, so they can actually run. Fortunately, we've got... In fact, I have my whole coal production down here, which isn't doing anything at all. So we can split this, which goes up here. Well, no, that's not why I had this here, but we'll use it. I need belts. I gotta grab belts too before we go. What we can do is put our train down. This is going to be a two-headed train. An engine, 3 cars. And what we can do is... I'm not going to have enough belts to do this, but... This is going to be our resupply line running... Yeah, there it goes, right out. Running a feed of coal from that split line. And whenever the engines pull into the stop here, it's going to refill them with coal, which is their fuel. This one's going to be Iron Destination A. Hey, Lava's here. Long time no see, Lava. Unless I'm super sick. That's unfortunate. Did you catch something? Seems like every time I see you, you're either suffering from some sort of physical, mental injury or some sort of sickness. I hope you feel better. Fortunately, things should be pretty chill. So if you want to kick back and relax and hear me talk about a lot of technical nerd stuff, then this is the stream for you. Lava says, I don't know, but I've been coughing since Sunday. Well, if medicine isn't helping and it doesn't go away right away, I mean, I'm not your parent, but I would recommend talking to a doctor if it doesn't get better. Have you taken your temperature? Again, I'm not your parent, but just out of curiosity, have you checked to see if you're running a fever? No, Red Dragon just says doctors now. Hey, if you got universal health care, man, you might as well take advantage of it. We don't really have the luxury of that here in Yankee Town. But yeah, if it doesn't get better, I would and medicine isn't helping, I would definitely look at talking to a medical professional so that you're not just suffering and so it doesn't get worse more than anything else, right? Okay, cough syrup is good, but again, if you go on like a week and it's not getting better, even with medicine, seek additional help. Bottle 2, well, you don't want to be just drinking cough syrup nonstop, man. If it's a serious thing, then that might not actually be helping combat whatever it is I need to save my game. Whatever it is you have. And drinking lots of cough syrup isn't necessarily good for you either. So if it's not getting better, then you might need something stronger. Or it could be bacterial. You don't want it to become pneumonia. Right? That's bad. Okay, what we want to do is create 3 buffers that all of our cargo is going to dump into. I think I'm too far away. Here. Okay, so now when the engine pulls in and it's full, all of the cargo is going to get dumped off into these 3 chests. It says I'm fine, just hard to breathe without using my lower torso, so I have to breathe from the top. Alright, man. You're an adult. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just be careful. Okay, before we go further out, we need to run power all the way down. So this is going to burn a bunch of these long distance poles, but that's all right. All right, well, it's good that you're seeing improvement, but if it doesn't continue to improve, don't do nothing. All right, we're following the tracks. This is a long way to run. Now, since I've been bedridden mostly, that's not good. That's not just a simple cold if you can't get out of bed, man. Never did get my flu shot this year. But I also haven't really been traveling much. Okay, we want to run this over here. Because our drills are going to be over here. And what we'll need to do is bring the train over here so I can make sure I have this oriented properly. I might have to go up further. Well, so it's not a cold, it's just coughing. Well, like I said, you don't want it to turn into bronchitis or pneumonia. That's no fun. Okay, we'll designate this one as Iron Source A. I wonder if I can have the train just show up here. I think I have to actually set it to use this track first before I can do that. Alright. I guess I can take my car. What I want to do is actually get the train over here before I set it to start doing anything automatically. We don't want to do that quite yet. Let me go back. We're going to go back to the other station, get in the train, and we're going to drive it manually over here so I can see how it lines up. Go. We'll just leave the car here. Okay, get in the train, and I'll actually cover the map decently fast. We'll be able to get some upgrades to the overall performance of the trains and how fast they move and etc. later. But it moves at a decent clip, faster than just using the car, or definitely faster than hoofing it. Okay, this is our stop. We don't have to worry about fueling here since the train will fill itself up when it goes to the other stop. But now we want to do the same thing where we are going to load rather than unload. We'll set a bulk inserter here and here, one for each of the cars. And run power down so that they can actually function. Now we can start setting up our mining array. I'm thinking we go, like I said, columns, and then we have everything feeding into a balancer setup that's going to be pulling full belts, one to each inserter, and loading into the respective cargo car. So to do that, we need to first start setting up rows just like this. We're going to have them all filtering down. And we'll go groups of 3, I believe is the most efficient way to do this. And I actually have a blueprint. I didn't create this. I pulled it off a site that has good Factorio blueprints. But this particular setup works pretty well for balancing. And it uses a mix of splitters and underground belts to basically take a bunch of inputs and make it so that they balance the output to 4 things coming out, which is why we have it set up 4 and 4 on the bus where we're trying to go. The top is input, bottom is output. And we just need to have all of the mining lines filtering down and feeding each of these so that it's merging them all into even outputs, and then we have this stuff going over here to our inserters that are going to load up the car. I get the feeling this is going to throw a huge additional strain on our energy grid. We're going to find out. Yeah, blocks of 3. And we'll do one more column and then split that off and see how much it's actively supplying to each of the splitters. We want to cover this entire field eventually, but we don't need to do it right now. The more we cover, the faster it will feed over supplies to allow us to load up the train cars quickly. So we'll do one more. We'll see how effective this is. Oh, I guess we could go further down. That's all right. Okay, now all these are going. We've got 3 inputs, and we're only going to really use 3 outputs for now. So what you need to do is run one up here, going to you. One up here, going to you. And the final one going to the bottom. And so using the bulk inserters and all the stuff being dumped down from the different spots where they're being mined, they're grabbing clusters of the ore for iron and dumping it into the cargo cars. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 by 4, so 40 slots of 50 total that this thing can fit. And I think, it's not bad output. Eventually, when we upgrade how much each of these green bulk inserters can grab at once, they'll be taking more stacks and dumping them. It'll be even faster. So I'm thinking we're going to need to add a couple more columns later, but for now, this is fine. If these were throwing in more than the belts could supply, then I'd say we need to up the input. But it looks alright. So now what we can do is the fun part, which I never get right. We can actually set let's see. We want to set our station programming here. So we have iron destination A. This is our drop off. The weight condition is going to be empty cargo. And then our other destination is going to be iron source. And our weight conditions be load cargo. And hopefully I have that right. Whoops. Well. Now we're going to see what the actual programming does. That's not what I wanted to do because it wasn't done. But what it should do is truck everything up and stay at the next station until everything has been unloaded. If I had more room, I could just do it by hand to speed this up. It can help, just so we can see if the actual programming is correct. Oh, I can't reach the middle ones. I'm gonna get out. What we'll do is we'll go here. Jump in there. Okay. So now the programming for the train shows that everything's empty, so it departs the station. It's going to run all the way back down. And now it should pull into the next station and park there until each of the cars is completely full of iron ore. As long as it does that and doesn't just immediately leave, I think we're good. And we can leave this one here. Yeah, all right. I think we've done it. Now, of course, my car is back at base. Oh. We are right up against a couple hives. I didn't see that. These must have just popped in. No, this one was here. This one I didn't see. Okay. Balls. I didn't grab more ammo. We need to take those out. The pollution cloud is reaching right into their territory, so they're going to attack this train depot if we don't do anything. But I don't have any ammo. My car is up here. Okay, let's see. We could wait till everything is full and then just take the train back. Or, actually, this shouldn't really screw the programming too much. We'll find out. I can switch to manual and drive it myself, and then just turn it back on to automatic up at the destination so I can get my car, get my ammo, get my car, come down here and deal with that, because I do not want this area down here getting attacked. Oops, how'd that get in there? Okay, I think it's gonna do that because it's technically not full. The programming should do what it needs to do now. I'll keep an eye on that. But what we need to do is we need to get rockets so we can go clear out the threat to the south before it becomes a problem. Oh, okay, we got plenty. That's good. Alright, should be enough piercing ammunition in here. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Let's save and go kill some bugs. Oops. Before we do that, I need to go fry some chicken real quick. Might need to get some water too. So before we go in and stomp some bugs, I'm gonna go deal with the chicken. I'll be back in 1 sec. All right. Chicken has been successfully fried. We resume. Another thing I need to be a little bit careful of. Since the train lines are going, I do not want to be in the path of the train. Just like real life. We get hit by a train, we die. I'm pretty sure it'll blow up my car too. So we won't be playing chicken with the railroad. Can't wait till we get some of the more advanced vehicles down the road. They handle so much better than the car. Specifically the Spidertron. That thing is neat. Okay, there's the target. Same to, oh boy, got too close. I was gonna say same tactics as before, but drawing aggro was not good even with my rockets. I can't even see the hive because of the menu bar at the bottom. There they are, okay. Set up our turret line. Get a better visual. There they are. Alright, come here. They're actually posted up kind of close. Let me bring the line in a little bit further. They're gonna mob me as soon as I start blowing up their buildings. Still doing okay with damage. Be for long, so we're gonna have to improve our weaponry tech. There we go. Now I can see a little better. And not only for just like the turret bullets. Oh, there goes the train. Also for just the rockets in general. And if we get the level 2 ones, I think those are the ones that'll allow us to fire in clusters. I don't remember, it's been a while. Okay, move the offensive line in. Okay, got about half of the buildings to take out. Okay, let's keep the pressure on. In fact, we can move the line in a little bit further. I think we're gonna have to do this hive and then the one directly to the south over here. I don't want anything bothering my trains. Oh, balls. I am actively being attacked. I was wondering where that alert was coming from. There. Oh, you suckers. Okay. There must be another hive directly to the side, because they are destroying my drills. You annoying suckers. Okay. They have to be close by. Okay, well, I was going to say we need to finish what we're doing at this little cluster to the south, but since they're attacking me now, let me see. I gotta do this fast because they're going to attack again. Let's see, 4 spawners. All right, let me see if I can take them out really quick. We got to get back up there and figure out where they're coming from because they're going to send another wave. And that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. Keep an eye on the map. If I see red moving in towards that base, I'm going to have to book it over there. If they blow up the trains, then that's a problem. Okay, clear. Pack up our turrets. We're gonna grab the car. Now I gotta figure out where that attack came from. Oh, we cleared that. There was one kind of hugging that cliffside. Where? Where did they come from? Here? No, it can't be there. It must be down here. I could see red. So our cloud is dipping into the territory down there. All right. That's where we gotta go. Thought I had swept the area. Apparently not. Like we were talking about earlier, for folks who might not have been here at the start, the way the enemy spawns work in this game is they populate throughout the map in clusters like this, and if you leave them alone, they'll spread. Uh-oh. And the more they spread, the more a kind of proximity risk they'll become. But they're aggroed by the red pollution cloud. And when the pollution cloud overlaps the enemy hives, that's what motivates them to attack whatever's nearby. Oh boy. that is actively destroying my car. That would have been bad. There's a lot of cargo in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to set up a turret line again. And clear the thread out. This isn't as big of a hive, but we can see pollution cloud is pretty much right in their face. But I think there's another one. We'll see. We'll clear out everything. Give ourselves a nice buffer so that we don't have to deal with this for a bit. Oh, slowing acid. You can see the spitters are getting stronger too. Those are level 3. Okay. Let's do sort of a sanity check a little bit further south just to make sure there's no more hives springing up. We're kind of outside the pollution cloud, but once I put my drills back up, it's going to probably dip down several more squares. I want to make sure the area is completely clean so I don't have to drop what I'm doing and run over and firefight again for at least not a while. Oh, there's another one. Oh, it's a big hive. It's a very big hive. That's one of the biggest ones we've seen yet. Okay, well, let's deal with it. Another bug hunt. Ooh, I might be able to use the cliffside to my advantage here. They come. Lava says, oh, by the way, Ninja Gaiden 4 and 2 Black were announced. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier before you jumped on some of the recent announcements coming out that I saw. I was telling the chat how anything Ninja Gaiden related was not on my bingo card for this year. I think I tried to play Black on the Vita or PSP a long time ago, but the remaster version looks super clean. It's out now. And so I might look into it. General response has been pretty good. People are saying it runs well. And gameplay's tight, so I might pick it up. It'd be an interesting one to stream because I'd be playing through it for the first time. But yeah, really cool news. And then 4, they didn't say a release date. It's later this year, I think. So very cool news. Alright, start taking these spawners out. And that is a bit too much damage. going to bring the line in close to the cliffside. It'll allow me to shoot over the ridge. I can try and snipe them with rockets. Fortunately, the AI is kind of dumb. For all the meleeers, will try and path around an obstacle, which will just leave them open to getting shot. The spitters will still get at range, and they're still dangerous, like that. But the meleeers will kind of run in the cliffside and get shredded before they get close. Maybe we'll just continue to move down. I don't want to clear the trees out because the trees also screen some of the bigger biters that kind of stuck. They try and get through the tree line. Ammo. I mean, that's not a good place for that. Take out more of the spawners. There's so many that they're popping in almost as fast as I can take them out. I think we need to move off the cliffside. You notice the corpses of the biters just pile up. As you get later in the game and the waves get more and more dense, you just see these big, massive piles of bug carcasses everywhere. I think they despawn after a little bit, but it's kind of funny just to see dozens and dozens and dozens of dead angry bugs. Line here. Take out more of the structures. We're getting there. Still a lot left. What we'll do is we'll move the line down a little bit more. Just keep wearing down their defenses. I think we're good. Well, I went through a ton of rockets between this fight and the last one. Okay. Ugh. Messy. Well, that's taken care of for now. There's an oil site here. These little, it's kind of hard to see unless I zoom in, but these bubbling spots here are crude oil wells. Well, that's definitely useful. So we can add some useful markers on the map to remember there's stuff here. It's stretched across water, which is kind of annoying, but if we need to get more oil, this is a place for it. Alright. I think this gives us a buffer. This, actually, I should clear that out while I'm here. If I leave it, it'll be okay for now, but it could spread. It could cause another hive to spawn closer, which is probably what happened in the first place. So I think we'll just clear it while we're here. See if I have enough rockets to do it. Okay, decent size hive, not as big as the last one. Come on. Just like before, move the line in, and I can start targeting the buildings. Couple more. Take that one out. That leaves 4. I think I have enough rockets to do it. Just make sure I don't waste them on the fodder. Okay, we're fairly close in now. I need to invest in the night vision goggles at some point. That'd make being able to see at night a lot easier. Red Dragon says it's a good thing your guns don't shoot you in the back. Yeah, it's also good that they don't require power. They just require ammo, which is fairly generous. These turrets just need to be loaded with bullets. They don't require a power source, but some of the more advanced ones do. Like there's laser turrets, there's flamethrowers. Both need either gas or energy power in order for them to function, but they do a lot more damage than regular bullets. We can also get some autonomous defenses that'll kind of follow us around. I just don't have any built at the moment. Like drones that'll back us up. Alright. Is this the end of the immediate threat in the area? I'm down to 69 nice rockets. So if I have to get in any more fights, I gotta go restock again. There are some more there. And there. Wow, two, well, kind of small cluster. And a really big one over there. Okay. Since we have visibility on the map, I don't want to get in any more fights. I'm running out of ammo. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I don't think they're an immediate threat, but that's going to need to get dealt with at some point. So what we want to do is go back, rebuild the drill sites that got destroyed, and then go back to main base and start actually doing something with all this stuff that we've been trucking over here. Yeah, we'll have to just watch and see. If we start seeing hives pop in close, then we'll have to go take them out before they get close enough to attack. I could put some turret defenses in the base too, but if we start getting big waves, I don't know if it's necessarily going to help, or be enough rather. They took out all the drills, and the power poles, but they left the belts. Very rude. Okay, because everything is stopped at the moment, there won't be any pollution. But what we want to do now is go back to base, and now we're going to actually start doing something with all of this ore that we're brought in. I want to build out iron plates and build out steel. If we can get that set up and running, then that'll be the big objective I wanted to get done here on stream. I want to do copper as well, but that's going to require more of just the same setup with rails and getting everything trucked over to the base. So I'll do that off stream as we work towards expanding production. Leave the car here. Gotta remember to go grab more rounds of ammunition next time I go hunting for bugs. Okay. Now, what makes the most sense? I guess we can do this. Let's set up another balancer. I didn't do this on the coal. I think this makes more sense for iron. Open up our blueprint book. We're going to drop another setup just like before, and we're going to feed incoming lines from the crates, and we can do the same thing with our bulk inserters. And we're going to have them feeding lines into here and balancing it all into specific things that we can use to go to where we need it. Specifically, we're going to need to set up some smelting arrays. Eventually, once I get logistics bots that'll build for me, I won't need to do this by hand. It'll be the next major leap forward in efficiency. I can basically put down a ghost blueprint, and as long as I have the materials to build the structures, the bots will fly out and they'll build it all for me. I am definitely looking forward to when that happens. It'll make things so much faster. My dragon says I'm going to have to go. It's almost 3 a.m. here. All right, dude. Thanks for hanging out. I know it's late. We'll be wrapping up soon as I get all this stuff set up. But hope you have a good night. We'll be back on Saturday, normal time, for the next session of Elden Ring, right? So if you want to tune into the continued misadventures of Red Dragon and myself as we go through the main game proper. I don't know if you saw the archives lava, but we beat the DLC and nothing bad happened at all. So we're going to be doing the main game content again, going back. I think it should go pretty quick because we're decently leveled, but we're actually moving towards the end of the game. Well, we beat the final boss of the DLC. That's what mattered. And if you want to see how that went, and check out the archive from, I think it's the last session we did. We slugged it out with Radon, and it was not easy, but we got through it. Okay, now let's see. How do we want to run through all of this? I gotta change my setup for coal too. It's what I have it doing now is feeding everything from a single belt, but I think I should probably balance it so it's doing the same thing. They can have lines running in different directions. It's up to that end. That's what we're going to do. Now we can have this one run sideways. That's the wrong direction. That's the right direction. I'm gonna need to go grab more splitters and undergrounds at some point. Red Dragon says, just checking, there are 33 bosses in the DLC. We'll need to check the full list to see if they're big bosses or just bad guys with the screen health bar. Yeah, if you want to look into that, and then if you find any we missed, we can go back and take them out, just for the sake of being thorough. If nothing else, we claim moral victory because we took out the final story boss of the DLC. But there's so much content in there. We'll make sure we didn't miss anything important. Oh, thanks for sharing the map. I'll take a look at that later too. Okay, I think we'll leave this setup the way it is. That'll be fine. But we want to run... Let's see. Let's see if this works. I want it to be full belts. This is probably not the most efficient way to do this. but we're going to be unloading pretty large quantities at once, so this should be all right. I'm going to do this on each one, and then we'll see if this causes a hiccup in production. We'll do this for the iron as well. Okay, so we want to run this up. And now we need to set up actual smelting so we can do something with all this ore that we spent the good portion of 2 hours getting from point A to point B, because that is what happens in Factorio. Be fair, we did a lot of combat too. We killed a lot of bugs. But I can't tell you how many times I've sat down to play this game thinking, I just need to accomplish one thing, and then I'm going to go to bed. And it's next thing you know, it's 3 in the morning. And I've accomplished maybe a thing, or maybe several things I didn't intend to accomplish. And it's 3 in the morning. Okay, we'll just run spaghetti train up here. And we'll add the other side of the belt just like we did on the other one. We'll see how this works. We want it to be intersecting, not connected. Oh no, I guess that'll work. It'll feed it that way. Oh, weird. I wonder why it does that. Alright, well, that's not really what I wanted, though. Alright, whatever, it's doing what I need it to do. Alright, Red Dragon, take it easy. I'll talk to you on Saturday. And we will see what happens in Elden Ring. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I think I have enough furnaces to do this initially. I am going to... My initial thought was to split off a line and do steel, because that's what I'm running out of right now. But we're going to need... Oh, let's see. We're back here south of the main base, so we'll go ahead and save our progress. I'm going to take one of these lines that's currently piping everything up and merging it onto the main first thing for steel. And I'm going to disconnect this and put it so it's actually hooked up to over here. So we'll just have to run it all the way back. And actually, our steel site's completely empty, so we can just delete this altogether. This central ore cluster that we had was way back at the beginning of the game. And now it's completely dry, so now there's no more steel to be made. So we can delete everything, make space, and this belt will actually connect down to the new smelting spot we just set up. Okay, so we have 2 split lines of coal. Now this is just going nowhere. We'll figure out what to do with that later. Another thing that'll be nice once we get logistics bots, or building construction bots rather, they'll also do mass teardown for us. If we mark everything for deletion like this, the bots will swarm out and they'll clear everything out and we won't have to do it manually. I will try and have all that tech unlocked by the next time. It'll make things so much faster. Okay, leave that there. First we'll move this line like I said I was going to do. And then we're going to do steel. I think I'll do 1 line of steel and then 3 lines of iron. That should give us 4. We can run this here and have it go right next to the solar panel construction thing, which might move. It doesn't need to stay there, but it's fine for now. And now we can actually construct this balancing array here, have it do its thing. Okay, now it's all ready. And because it is spreading 1 line and balancing it across 4, it's going to look all kind of scattered. But the idea is we will eventually bring in more and connect it all up so that it's filling everything at once. And that'll give us a pretty decent amount of iron. But not if I disconnect it from the power. I guess you can run it up to the main grid. All the stuff is really needs to be cleared out. And this will make a lot of room for other stuff, but for now we'll just do this. And there's a good chance to see how our power draw is doing. Because we have researched, not actively researching anything at the moment, but yeah, draw is pretty low because we're not really consuming a lot of resources. But once we get everything hooked up and we start building lines off of the main bus for more construction, it's going to start going up again. Alright, so now there's 2 smelting operations that are going for iron, and it's merging everything into one line that's going up and splitting into 4 right now. So what we're going to need to do is go for steel. I think what I'll do is I'll start building the core thing for steel, and then we'll get ready to wrap up, because I do need to go see to dinner before it gets too late. Let's pull you over here. I think what we're going to have to do is split 2 rows like we've done before for the this backwards. We have to split 1 row for the smelters that are making the plates, the iron plates, and then another row for the thing that's taking the plates and making it into steel. It's 2-stage essentially. I don't think it really matters which direction I go. It should be okay. Connect this here, and this will split a line that's going to go for the iron. And then we're going to need to split another line of coal that's going to be feeding everything. There's going to be 2 rows of furnaces, and the bottom row needs to get coal as well. So I think the easiest way to do this is to split the incoming line like that. Trying to make this pretty. This go under here, come out here, and do something like that. If we build backwards, it's going to look like rows of 2. And 2. Inserters going like this and like this. And an output line that's going like this. We'll basically build 1/2, get that to be configured correctly, and then we'll call it for today. So here's output. I should save this as a blueprint. That way when I get bots, I can plop this down. And it'll do it automatically. Let's see. Is enough coverage? And that might be enough coverage. Just put them in the middle. Now we'll turn it on and make sure it's working. Okay, so we have the first line grabbing the coal and iron ore, smelting the iron plates. And then once it finishes cooking, it'll drop it down into these, smelt it into steel, and then the reds will drop it onto the belt. And then we're done. I think my ratio is going to be 8 and 8. And we'll see if there's any issue with keeping up production. So to that end, we can set down 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we just mirror setup like that. I need to go grab more inserters. Drop output. I want to test to see if I have my power allocated properly. Yeah, it does cover everything. Okay. Good. So that will cover all steel production for now. I need to do more than one of these, but for the moment, we'll get one set up, maybe do 2 off of this line, and then the rest we add it to iron. And then we're going to have to do this whole exercise again for copper. That will be something to do next time I sit down. All right. Well, we will save there. And we will call that a session for today. Hopefully that was at least interesting to hear me explain. We might not look like it, but we accomplished a pretty big improvement to production. Getting the train line set up, despite having to do tons of bug control, will definitely help for iron. Like I said, I need to do it for copper and I need to do it for stone. So when we sit down to stream this next time, we're probably going to have multiple trains, probably another 2 trains going from different parts of the map, bringing resources into this main area below the base and either smelting it or moving it up to the main bus. And hopefully I'll have moved up a few tiers in production, or tech rather, and research. And maybe if I get everything done, since it might be a week off, maybe we'll be in space by the next time I stream this and I can explain how getting off world works. So let's go ahead and take a look at who is online that we can raid. Let's see. Now we can raid Gutter Snipe, one of my VTuber peers. He's the Pixel VTuber playing Yu-Gi-Oh! We can go see how Gutter Snipe's doing. So let me get this queued up. We will go ahead and mute BGM. And go to outro. And we will call it a stream. Again, thanks for hanging out, folks. Always good chatting with you folks while I try and build the greatest factory ever. We'll be back, like I mentioned before, on Saturday at noon Pacific for Elden Ring with Red Dragon. Oh, feel free to stop on by. But in the meantime, have a good rest of your night, and I will catch you folks in the next one. Now let's go see how the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going.